moderator of today's session, Professor Lama, honorable colleagues from the Parliament, my friend Monlomo Kikon. He is an established author and a poet. His recent book is His Majesty's Headhunters, which speaks about the battle of the Second World War, Battle of Koima. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a privilege to be here, and this is my first Asian conference meeting, and it is a very wonderful platform where we get together and exchange ideas. Before I begin, I'd like to give a brief outline of what India is, about the country. India now is set to grow at 6.3, the GDP of India, and by 2030 we are aiming to be, as said earlier by other speakers, a 7 trillion economy. India is number 1 in starting startups, number 2 in having the number of startups, and number 3 in the world in having a startup ecosystem. So now, Northeast also, under Prime Minister Modi and his active policy, under PM Divine, there is this 6,600 crore capital outlay for infrastructure development, which will go until 25-26. Also, there is a 100 crore capital venture fund for Northeast. As mentioned earlier, 40% of this country's hydropower potential is in the Northeast, but sadly, per capita consumption of energy is the lowest in Northeast. So this is one area which needs to be addressed. Also, when it comes to Northeast, many successive governments in the center have found it difficult to, found it difficult to govern Northeast because it was the hotbed of secessionist movements and separatism and conflicts. But now, after Prime Minister Modi, numerous peace agreements have been signed. The region is on its way. Of course, we are sad about what is happening in Manipur, but we are very hopeful that peace will come soon to the region. Now, when we talk about Northeast, we have to understand one thing. India is one of the youngest countries in the world with 28.5 median age. And from that 28.5, we have to keep in mind that 50% of the total population is below 25 years of age. Now, these 25 years of age, they are growing up during the Modi era, after Prime Minister Modi came to power. Now, these things we have to keep in mind because Prime Ministers, from the moment he took over the government, India is transitioning from women development to women-led development. Now, for any exchange to take place, because there's a lot of talk about skilled workforce coming to Japan and all. So for our youth to go there, this environment has to be there in that place where there is gender parity and where there is women-led development. That is one aspect. Also, see, by 2047, 20% of the world's middle class will be in India. And that will open up a huge, sector of opportunities in terms of technology because there will be needs of food, housing, shelter, education, entertainment, security. So this is where a lot of collaborations can take place. Our Honorable MP, Sir Gao, has mentioned about the sericulture, which technology transfer can take place because Northeast has a very active, handloom sector. And we have GI tags for the Assam silk. So Japan and India, the way forward can be technological, collaborations, one. Secondly, I was watching the video. One point of concern is the ages are usually 21 to 31. So they go there, work for 5 years, and come back, mid-career. Where do they fit in here again? That is one concern because we send our youth there, they go and study there, do they earn enough? What are their earnings? And when they come back, can they start something on their own? Will there be job openings for them to fit in? So these are questions which come up when we talk about sending workers. And that is one point of concern for me. Of course, I'm glad to know that the Japanese government has approved the foreign trainee program on 9th February. which still needs parliament approval, which extends the stay up to 5 years, and possibly if they want to, continue residency. So that option is one, which is good. Taking forward, as mentioned earlier, we have a lot of youth who are educated, but sadly we also have the highest unemployment in the region. So all these things can come together if there is, like for example, if there is an enabling environment there in Japan for our youth to go and work, yes, why not? But then we have to take into consideration the concerns that I just had now, because this Northeast, our people, we are very different, we're very warm. One observation of my trip to Japan, I was very impressed. Everything is very disciplined, everything really good. But then as the days pass on, one observation, traveling to the rural areas, going to the towns, I found it very desolate. I mean, you don't see people on the street. And here in India, we are used to people on the street. Desolate is the word that came to my mind, and I felt very sad. Such a beautiful place, and there's no population, there's no one. We were counting people, 4 hours. We saw 2 on the street. Traveled for 4 hours by road. So for us Northeast people to come and be there, an environment has to be there where we feel, because we are very close-knit societies, tribal societies are close-knit. So that enabling environment has to be there. And I'd like to, before I end, I'd like to thank Sasakawa Foundation and CIA for the opportunity we got to experience Japan. Thank you very much.